भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं कर्वावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Khato Upanishad. We are taking book 2, section 2 and canto 3, as I say. 2, 2, 3. Yes, 2, 2, 3.
The name of the talk?
2 to 13.
Today we are going to speak about the samsara, the tree of samsara.
Did you say 3 Swami or 13?
3.
3. I have chapter 13, no?
No.
It's 3?
3.
Oh, okay.
3.
Okay.
2, 2, 3.
Okay.
2, 2, 2, 3, 1.
2, 2, 3, 1.
The first verse.
The first verse.
Yeah.
Part 2.
Part 2, canto 3, verse 1.
I see.
This is the beginningless people tree that has its roots above and branches below. That which are its roots is pure. That is Brahman, and that is called immortal. On that are fixed all the worlds. None transcends that. This is verily that. Is that Vaida? This is the this. None transcends that. 2 chapter. Sir Suchi sir. Oh yeah.
Thank you, Swamiji.
Welcome.
Thank you. Oh, I got it.
This is the beginningless. You got it there? Yeah. Tree. People tree. It is called Ficus religiosa, one of the most sacred trees. In the Bhagavad Gita also, the Lord, in describing his special manifestations in the world, speaks about the Lord himself as amongst all the trees, I am this Ashwatha, this people. That's a sacred tree in India. And it's vast. You know what a tree looks like? Oh, it's there out there, growing out in the Hollywood, you can say, garden. That's the Bodhi Vriksha. Bodhi tree. That's the tree under which Buddha sat. That is the tree under which the sages and saints, they sat and deliberated and learned the Vedas as children. The tree was always sacred. There is, even in old European mythology, you find the idea of trees as sacred. These ashwood trees, sacred trees. And so trees were a kind of essential part of human, you can say, growth and development. So amongst all those trees, the Ashwatha tree, the people tree, Ficus religiosa, is the imagery is being given with this, the tree of samsara. This tree has been used as image. So this is the beginningless tree that has its roots above, and its branches down. That is pure. That is Brahman, and that is called immortal. On it are fixed all the worlds, none transcends that. Apart from this tree and its roots, nothing is there apart from this reality. But reality, what kind of reality is this? It is trying to describe how the one has become the many, how from the subtle, most subtle, unmanifested aspect of nature, the world has emerged from the unmanifest to the subtle and less subtle till it becomes gross and gross and gross. Everything, you can say, moves in this way. Everything. You put a seed in the ground and then slowly it will start germinating, sprouting, and coming up. And then in time it will become a huge tree. So when we see this world, we need to know its cause. It's going back to the cause. It's searching these effects, trying to understand these effects in order to get to the root, the cause of this universe. Now, the commentator says, and the commentary that he has given here is one of the most poetic instances where he has like excelled himself. The commentator Shankaracharya. So in the introduction, he says, like, suppose you have cotton trees, okay, somewhere, and the breeze blows some of those cotton balls, no, and you can find some of these cotton balls somewhere here and there and nearby. By finding those cotton balls here, okay, or pieces of cotton or kind of fibers, cotton fibers, you can understand, okay, there has to be a cotton tree somewhere nearby. So when we see this world, we have, okay, this is like those cotton fibers or cotton balls. Yes, there has to be a tree somewhere. Now, this is slowly exploring this, slowly exploring these, you can say, the root, the world in order to find its roots, its basis. And in the very beginning, it says, okay, this tree of samsara has its roots up and branches below and keeps on spreading. Okay. What are its roots? It says, that is pure, that is Brahman, and that is called immortal. On that are fixed all the worlds. None transcends that. This is the whole tree of samsara is a symbol of existence. Absolute existence and relative existence. Okay. Now, when we apply Vedanta to understand this thing, what do we get? We can understand the nature of samsara, nature of this tree through Vedanta. The imagery of the tree is found also in the Mundaka Upanishad, where there's a tree and there are two birds of similar plumage on that tree. One bird, the lower bird, eats the sweet and bitter fruits. That is the sweet and bitter fruits of karma. And when it eats that bitter fruit, it looks up towards that higher higher bird. And what does it see? It is calm and quiet and it's not eating anything. Manashnan. So Dwa Suparno Sayuja Sakaya. So there are these two trees. And then the lower bird hops slowly and slowly. Whenever it's in pain, when it eats bitter fruit, it hops closer towards a higher bird. And as it keeps on going higher and higher, it understands that I was a reflection of that real bird. That was a bird. And that final merging takes place. The lower bird merges in that higher bird. The lower bird was just a reflection. Got this? Okay. So you find in the Upanishads, you have these imageries. Now, when this imagery of this tree is being spoken about, do we find such a tree upside down with its roots up and its branches below? Yeah, you're right. You can see it, you go on the banks of the river and you see those trees. Those trees are reflected. They look upside down. You look at the reflection in the water of those trees, and what do you see? Upside down. So this whole world is actually a reflection. We are seeing it wrongly. We are not seeing the real thing. When you're seeing this world, okay, yeah, it's there. But this is the reflection, it's not real. The reflection of what? That is supreme. That is immortal. That is the truth. On that are fixed all these things. I'll read the Sanskrit.
Did you say you can see it in the water? What kind of tree is that?
Any tree.
Any tree. If you look into the water, you see
The reflection of that tree which is on the banks.
And it is upside down.
Yeah, you see the reflection always.
You
see yourself also.
I haven't looked into it.
Oh, hi.
But Ashwatha tree.
Okay, wait. We'll take these things later on. Ashwatha. I will explain it word by word. Urdhvamulamavdashakam eshoshtvata sanatana tadeva shukram tad brahma tadevamritamuchyate tasmin lokashrita sarve tadunatyeti kasyana etadvaitad Urdhvamula, the roots up, Adashaka. In the 15th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, and that's the reason why I bought the Bhagavad Gita. In the 15th, the first 3 verses describe the same imagery. And in a little more elaborate way than this and the other verse. So I say, one who knows the Pipala tree, the Ashwatha tree, this tree of the world, which is said to be imperishable, with its roots in the primeval being, whose branch is represented by the Creator, and whose leaves are the Vedas. One who knows this tree is a knower of the Vedas. Fed by the 3 gunas of Prakriti, Sattva, Rajas, Tamas, and having sense objects for their tender leaves, the branches of the aforesaid tree extend both downwards and upwards, and its roots, which bind the soul according to its actions in the human body, are spread in all regions, higher as well as lower. The nature of this tree of creation does not, on mature thought, turn out what it is represented to be, for it has neither beginning nor end, nor even stability. Therefore, cutting down this tree, which is most firmly rooted in the form of the world, with the formidable axe of dispassion. Asanga shastrena dhirena chitva. So, this is like, we'll take this up one by one. The word Ashwatha that which will not last tomorrow. Okay. Why not tomorrow? We are seeing this. Yeah, always, all the time. And it's saying it's imperishable. Yeah. On the dawn of knowledge. Okay. And the word commentator says vriksha means that which is felled. There is no tree that does not fall at one point, either due to a storm, a tornado, or an earthquake, or simply old age. Even the Joshua trees, which are supposed to be very, 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 very old. How long did Joshua live? About 900 years? 800 years? Something like
Oh,
that.
no, I didn't
Joshua.
know there was.
Yeah.
God,
You don't even. However ancient, one day it's going to crash. Okay. Now, the roots, urdhva, the roots up. Now we're saying up. What is, you need earth to hold the roots, obviously. So what are these? That is spoken of as that it's a supreme state. See, that is pure, that is Brahman, that is called immortal. What is that? That's a supreme state of Vishnu, Tad Vishnu Paramam Padam. That's the all pervading supreme state of Brahman. We in Vedanta would like to have every origin springing from reality. And the other guys will say, oh, no, it's a self-correcting, self-governing organism. This nature, you don't need to pay special attention to what are its roots and what are it. It is self-organizing system. But that would leave people without any kind of roots in reality. So if this has emerged, it has emerged from reality. Okay. But like I said, the reflection of reality, not the real kind of. We'll come down to now. When you've spoken about the collective, the whole creation coming out from that root of reality, which is Brahman, we must also remember it's also speaking about that tree emerging from your own reality, from your own heart. Those roots of creation, as it were, is springing out from your own being. You are also a part of that reality. Not a part, but part. A part of reality? Yes, a part of reality, integral. So, on the individual level, this tree represents you, me, everything in this universe. From the standpoint of the cosmos, everything is embedded in this tree. From the subtlest, even before whatever you call the quantum fluctuation or the Big Bang or whatever, and all the galaxies and all the universes are all encompassed in this tree. Because they say none transcends that, nothing transcends that. Not even the individual soul, not even the individual body, not even the individual mind, nothing transcends that. No gods or demons or heavens and earth and hells, nothing. They are all contained within this creation. We got this idea right? Okay, now we can proceed to. Yeah. So, Vriksha, that is samsara. This is the tree of samsara. Diverse. Its nature can never, never, never be known. That's the reason why I'm saying cut that tree with its roots with a stout, you can say, acts of dispassion. Don't try to understand this tree in its totality. Try to understand it because it will lead you to reality. That's the only, you can say, necessity of seeing this world. Otherwise, you will get deluded. So, in this tree, there are many evils.
Many
Like
what?
evils. Like what? Like birth, old age, death, all these things. Everybody wants to avoid
Illnesses.
old age and death
They
and
can do
sickness.
it.
Yeah, but you go further and say even birth is evil. Ah, oh yeah. So we have this, the it's branching out, slowly and slowly and slowly it's coming out. So the moment you understand its nature, as I say, it disappears. Why? Where does it go? It disappears like, in India we have this Gandharva Nagari,
Hmm?
the city of the, you get this, the singing minstrels. These are the semi, you can say, gods. They are good at playing music, and sometimes the formation of the clouds are such that it appears as if like it's kind of a city in the sky. It appears like a city or some town or something like that. That's called the Gandharva Nagari. It's like that, or like a water in a mirage. It's unsubstantial. You're seeing it, but it's really not there. Okay, so that's the reason why they say it disappears on the perception of truth, on the perception of its roots. What we are seeing now is all the stems and the branches and the twigs and the flowers and fruits. That is what
So
we
what
are like
disap-
these.
So what disappears is the roots of the tree or the branches?
The roots come from that supreme state
Yes.
and it keeps on branching down below. It stem and then the tree and the branches and the
Mhm.
secondary branches and the tertiary branches. It keeps on and on and on and on. And then it has flowers and fruits, and we'll explain one by one what exactly. So, I'll take this, the commentator's help here, and it's kind of wonderful. So, it's saying, a tree is expected to be solid. Yeah. And because it disappears on the rise of knowledge, it has no substantiality, no substance. Because if there was substance, it would not disappear. Okay. So the example given, like, a plantain tree or a banana tree, you keep on uh, peeling out the stem and you're left with nothing. You understand? Like Sri Ramakrishna gives the example, illustration of a onion. You peel one layer after another and another and another. And what happens? What do you find? You're expecting to find something there, you find nothing there. So as you keep on peeling layers after layers, you find nothing. There is no heartwood, nothing solid there. That's the reason why it disappears. It appears, the plantain tree appears, wow, big one, but it has no heartwood. There is no substance in it. And because of that, this tree is subject to hundreds and hundreds of doubts and discussions. Is it there? What is its nature? It's like this, it's like that. The other day we were discussing, somebody was saying, oh, that person, that scientist knew reality. I said, that is not possible. Nobody can say he or she understands reality fully. It's just not possible. Because if you say, I know, there's some other factor will come and you'll have to integrate that new factor into this, it will upturn all your theories, all your philosophies. So the very fact that this idea of I know this, that is a pride of the intellect. Until that is not humbled, you will not understand. Sri Ramakrishna says that water accumulates on low ground, not on a high mold. It runs away. So all spiritual knowledge and all excellent spiritual qualities accumulate where there is humility. So the first humility one needs to bring it in the intellect of our being. We think we know. Yes, yeah, I know. I've seen that. I've eaten that. I've done. Oh yeah. Keep on. Yes. What do you know? You don't know anything. You know little. So it is growing. And how does it grow? The very fact that is emerging out, it is emerging from that Supreme Brahman. But as it emerges out, there is something called Maya. So Maya is the trunk, and on which everything this Maya. Okay. And this Maya gives rise to desires, and the desires give rise to karma, action, and the action gives rise to the results of action. And there we get caught. Avidya, kama, karma, Maya, desire, action, reaction, and there we get caught in this whole mess. Okay. So we have this, and then you have these various, you can say, branches, and the various branches are nothing but all these, the whole collection of all subtle bodies, of all the beings living on that tree. So these subtle bodies are these branches. Then you say the leaves are the Vedas, Chandas. These Vedas and logic and discourse and all these, as a commentator has kind of said, learning and instructions. The lovely flowers are the many deeds that we do, and many work that we do. Beautiful flowers. Oh, you do something nice and see, I've done this. Oh, yeah. And then fruits are that hankering. Out of desire, we hanker for certain things. That are its fruits. So this whole tree is like this. And it's constantly, as you keep on looking and interacting with this tree of the world, samsara, tree of samsara, it is like, watering that tree. And it keeps on growing. Right? You say, what's the water? Who's giving the water? Yeah, giving the water. Yeah. Every time you're looking at this world, you're interacting with, you are kind of sprinkling water. So that is hastening its growth. There are some people who are so enmeshed in the world, they simply can't extricate themselves. It's very difficult. Oh, what will happen to this and that and this and that? Hundreds of things. Yes, let go. See what happens. This tree has been since immortal times. Therefore, as long has this tree been seen my grandfather, great grandfather, great great grand? Oh yes, yes, yes. Has Adam seen it? Yes. And maybe Adam took that apple, whatever, from that this
From the
tree.
tree.
Oh yeah. Everywhere, in all cultures, you will find the symbology of the tree everywhere. So maybe it was an Ashwatha tree, not apple tree. Besides, you will not get apple in the Middle East, apple trees. So sorry.
Apple a day keeps the physician away. That's
The physician say an apple a day doesn't do it.
That won't do
it. So, and in all these world, every tree has birds and then nests, and all the worlds, whatever worlds are there, are like those nests. And in there, all the fledglings live. Starting from the Brahmaloka, we are here. This is the Bhuloka, Bhur, Bhuva, Suva, Maha, Jana, Tapa, Satya. All these worlds and even the nether worlds are nothing but big nests where we are all living there in those nests. Okay. And saying, and this is not the classical, you can see. I like to read this from the commentator. It has its uproar, it's noisy, birds and all this kind of uproar, rendered tumultuous through the various sounds arising from dancing, singing, instrumental music, play, jest, clapping, hitting the arms, laughing, pulling, crying, exclaiming, "Oh, leave me, ah, ha, ha, muncha, muncha, muncha." So all these various things are going on. Let's party. Yeah, go. That is what is being described. Go out and party. That's the nature of samsara. That's the nature of the world. That's what is being explained there. You're laughing, joking, talking, ha ha, oh. This is the whole world is a party. Enjoy yourself. See how was the enjoyment? And then he said, it is felled by the weapon of detachment. So it is why all this noise? Because there's pain and pleasure. Okay. There's always pain and pleasure, obviously. And it is felled by the weapon of detachment. You detach yourself from that, from all this kind of tendrils and leaves and branches and twigs and all these things that are trying to hold you. And I've got a nest here, I've got all these people here with me. What about them? Okay. So the Ashwatha, it's ever unsteady. So here we have this tree is constantly shaken with our constant uproar and interaction with other birds. If you notice, when it is dusk, when the birds fly back to their nest, and especially in a tree which has many birds living, you see the cacophony. You heard it? Yeah, it's exactly that. And not only human beings, all beings. All beings are now they're come here resting after moving about all over the place, and they are chirping and biting at each other, making friends with each other, this, that, all these things. So these branches, it's not only the human world, but all the higher worlds and the lower worlds also. Everything that exists from the temporal standpoint, not from the absolute standpoint, has its being here on this tree. Whether they are gods, or demigods, or semi-gods, or minstrels, there are a huge number of, you can say, discarnate beings, those who don't have bodies. Okay, the Siddha Lok, Gandharva Lok, Yaksha Lok, Kinnara Lok, and this, and then you have the Pitri Lok and Deva Lok. Yeah, stacked one over the other. All these things are in this tree of samsara. Even those subtle bodies and which are super fine bodies, yes. Even the gods, yes. And that's what Vedanta steps in. Even heaven is part of that samsara. Because wherever there is something called a name and form, there is Maya. You can't get out of it. So you want to go to heaven, the name and form. There's a name and form there. Besides that day we were discussing where people want to go to heaven and they will see their old their parents and this and that and their beautiful shining bodies and this and that. They'll never meet their wives, you know. So you see, they meet their parents and their relatives mostly. But nowadays, people want many people don't want to meet their parents and because of abusive behavior. No, no, I don't want to meet. So you're left alone. So you go, and that's another samsara. You're meeting people and interacting with them. Fortunately, at Christ, there's no marriage and giving in marriage. You know, so that is out. Thank God for that. At least there's some sanity. Okay. So, what this the comment say? Everything, the most subtlest world there is nothing but in samsara. Samsara means samsarati, constantly moving, constantly vibrating, constantly shaking. So its nature can never be discerned correctly. Like if you are trying to, there's an old story, you know, kind of it's an incident. Or Swami was on his, peregrinations, that is, holy wanderings, and he came across a child weeping, you know, inconsolable. So, and he sees the child's young mother trying to pacify the child. What happened? Why are you crying? So the child is trying to, with his, babble, amidst his tears, it wants to catch its shadow, and it's running behind its shadow, and as it runs, the shadow also runs, and that's why it is so sad and it's weeping. So that Swami he called, "Come here. Do you want to catch a shadow?" Saying, "Yeah." Okay. This stood with the sun at the back. You see, this is your shadow? Yeah. This is my shadow? Yeah. You want to catch it there? Yeah. No, no, no. Wait, wait. Stand still. Okay, okay. See, I'm going to catch my shadow and then you follow me. How you going? So what he did was the Swami put his palm on his head like this. See, I've got my shadow. Now you do the same. And the child did that and it's so happy. It caught its shadow. Don't run after the shadows, your shadow. Don't run after the samsara. Go to the root, and there you'll find, you've been able to catch the whole thing. And no longer will you laugh and cry and weep and wail because you have caught the root. So, Tadeva Shukram, that is Shubram, that is pure. Tad Brahma, that is Brahman. So, Tasmin Lokashrita, all these worlds are established ashrita, ashram, that which is supported. It supports all these worlds, diverse worlds. And you see, we see this is the kind of a earth and the human world. Yeah, yeah. But there are worlds ranging from the ant. We have wonderful life out there from the lowest, and it's more organized. Imagine. It seems the more we evolve, the more disorganized we become from the standpoint of society. The colonies of ants are so kind of systematic. Everybody does their work properly. But in the human world, it's so disorganized, the chaos. So right from we think, oh, the ants. No, no, there are more ants than human beings, and they even weigh in probably more than all the human beings combined together. So there are worlds within worlds within worlds in this world. Here in this room, there are worlds within worlds within worlds. We don't see it. So all these worlds are hooked, supported on this. And you say, none transcends that. Nothing else transcends this. ऊर्ध्वमूलो वक्षाका एषोऽश्वत्थः सनातन तदेव शुक्रं तद्ब्रह्म तदेवामृतमुच्यते तस्मिन् लोकाश्रिताः सर्वे तदुनात्येति कश्चन etadvaita. This is that. So at the beginning, we are speaking about that the roots of this tree. Where do you go? Where do you go to see the roots of these trees of samsara? Go down deep within you, in the core of your being, down deep in your heart. You will find that reality, that Brahman, which they call, they say, Uchchate, Tad Eva Shukram. That they say that is pure, that is Brahman, that is immortal. There, as you go deep inside, you don't have to go to those trees. You don't have to go to heaven to see the roots. You don't have to go to hell to see those roots. Where are the roots? There. So the whole symbology of this tree of samsara is you. You are that tree of samsara with its roots down below, deep. And as you keep on eliminating that ignorance, the desire, and the reactions from karma, you will get deeper and deeper and deeper. You keep on interacting with your body and the senses and mind, that reality, as it was, interacting. We are caught. And we suffer with birth and old age and disease and death and all these things. We have desires and we desire the fruits of actions, and the whole thing has become such a messy thing. So each one is a tree of samsara, and we are not seeing ourselves the way we are supposed to see it. We are seeing it upside down. Sri Ramakrishna says, what a kind of strange thing. The root of a person is ear. Amazingly. And it is up there. You find it in the gospel. The root is here and it branches down below. That's where the root is. And then it branches down below into various kind of, you can say, branches and sub-branches, and this yogic center and that yogic center of consciousness and this and that. And so what is the whole process of spiritual growth is to take all the energies, focus them, and go up towards the root. The process has to be reversed. Sri Ramakrishna says to one of his disciples, the key to this door, that is Sri Ramakrishna, has to be turned the opposite, not the usual way, the opposite way. Like, when I came in, you say you have to get used to the American way of life. For instance, in India, you all turn the key this way, we turn it this way, to lock it and open. I said, yeah, we do it the right way. You all do it the wrong way. The key to this door of truth, Sri Ramakrishna, has to be turned in a different way from the normal way that we do. Now, he's trying to tell us that you're seeing yourself, but you're seeing a kind of a shadow, a reality, a reflection. You should have seen the tree, the real tree. Instead of looking at that reflection, it's opposite. It is the roots up and branches down and is seeing itself. So this is what we call it, the tree of samsara. Samsara is not only outside, it is also here. So we have, as it were, emerged out from the reality, and we have created these diverse worlds. As Swami Vivekananda experienced, the microcosm is but a reflection of the macrocosm. If you can understand the microcosm, you will understand the macrocosm. So this tree of the world is here within us. We stop here for now. We take some questions. We proceed to the next verse next
Will be number 2.
Wednesday morning. And yes,
What
Would
about
you like
the
to chant for me?
Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Sri Ram Krishna Arpanamastu.
what about the various lokas, like Krishna Loka, Ramakrishna Loka? They are the part of reality, right?
No.
No,
Not absolute reality.
not absolute.
You go there, you go to Ramakrishna Loka, and from there you travel higher and higher and higher and higher, higher, higher. And then you go to the very edge of the spiritual universe, of the heavens and whatever, and you wait there. How do you wait? Do you play football? No. You sit down and meditate. You travel through meditation, higher and higher.
To meditate.
And as you keep on going, at the end of this cycle of creation, you will be merged in the absolute. So there, it's all over for you. Those who do not merge will have to return in the next cycle of creation.
In other words, if you reach it, if you become a Jiva Mukta, then you have
No, this is called